I'm joined by political commentator Jason Unruhe, who's joining us out of Ontario. Jason, 4 years pass, and Saudi Arabia has been leading this war against Yemenis together with UAE and others, mercenaries from elsewhere. And this little impoverished country has withstood all these big powers with all the money, the petrodollars that they are making, and they are ever growing stronger, making the Saudis even more vulnerable, like what's been happening in the past week. Let's have your comment on that.
Well, I think it very much speaks to the will and the spirit of the Yemeni people to endure this kind of suffering. I think it also shows a great measure of what it means to sacrifice for your homeland. No one fights this long and this hard for no reason or for money. They're doing it because this is their home. They have nowhere else to go. This is the absolute red line for them. There's nowhere else to fall back to. I think this certainly demonstrates the willingness of their spirit to remain independent from the Saudi and Israeli aggression against them, attempt to use their resources, their markets, their population, etc., for exploitation. And that's entirely what this is about. This is about extending the U.S., Saudi, Israel influence inside the region of the Middle East. And the fact that they've held on through all of this, through all this terrible suffering, really does speak volumes about what kind of people the Yemenis actually are and how well they're willing to hang on to their not just their country but their dignity and independence as well. I think that we can probably look forward to a victory by the Yemenis at some point. I'm sure there is much more suffering still yet to come, as many of the imperialist powers in the world, in this case particularly Europe, are beginning to realize the inhumanity of what's going on. Many of them have remained silent for so long, saying nothing, pretending that this entire invasion never existed. But now they're starting to come around. Now they're starting to say something and beginning to question whether or not it's worthwhile to have their name on this conflict after having sold them weapons. Many of the European countries right now are trying to push through a ban on sending any more weapons to Saudi Arabia, while the United States is certainly very happy to do so, regardless of any political or moral consequence to their actions.
Exactly. All right, I appreciate your comments. Jason Unruhe, political commentator, joining us from Ontario.